Staying tuned, environmental experts are advocating the application of space technology for the management and control of flooding in Nigeria. The Director of Strategic Space Applications at the National Space Research Development Agency and a representative of the World Bank agree that the use of such technology will help government manage flooding and other environmental challenges effectively. They were speaking at the 2017 World Space Week in Abuja.
From the far north to the southeast and west, Nigeria has witnessed several cases of severe flooding and gully erosion. Oftentimes with an overwhelming devastating effects on the citizens. This informs why the federal government signed to the Nigeria Erosion and Watershed Project, New MAP, in 2012. A project that is funded by the Chinese government and managed by the World Bank for the management and control of flood and gully erosion.
Thank you.
5 years on, at this conference in Abuja, the national coordinator of New MAP explains how the project is faring.
In terms of disbursement, which is the key yardstick used to measure the progress or effectiveness of a project, New MAP has disbursed the amount of 865 million to 1,333 project-affected persons as a research settlement for the loss of land, houses, economic trees, etc.
On the sideline of the event, both the representative of the World Bank and the Director of Strategic Space Applications at the National Space Research Development Agency advocate the use of space science for effective flood management.
What you need to monitor the erosion is a space technology which every 3 to 4 days, our satellite will pass over it. And even just doing histogram equalization will tell you what has happened to the vegetation there. If you look at the vegetation, erosion, it is not only dealing with the removal of the sand, it is deposited somewhere.
What we are trying to do is to try and see if in these programs we can improve the way a lot of the tools that we are showcasing here, such as geospatial technologies, can also be used, and you heard some examples in the morning, of how a lot of modern tools that we now have at our disposal can be used to try and both promote efficiency and transparency.
The New MAP project is a $500 million project financed by the Chinese government and managed by the World Bank for the control of flooding and gully erosions in Nigeria.
The death toll from Tuesday's boat mishap in Niger State has risen to 22. The boat, which was ferrying about 60 passengers, capsized after smashing into a tree trunk in the rain-swollen River Niger. The National Emergency Management Agency says 22 bodies have been recovered from the river, 17 rescued, while emergency workers and local divers are still searching for at least 26 others. Officials are also worried that the number of passengers may have been higher than 60, as ferries in the riverine region are usually overloaded. The boat had left Jilbabo village in Kebbi State and was heading to Tetebo village in neighboring Niger State when the accident happened. Last month, 74 people were killed in 3 separate boat capsizes in northern Nigeria. 11 suspects have been arrested by the police following recent cases of kidnapping and robbery on the Birnin-Gwari-Funtua, Birnin-Gwari-Kaduna and Kaduna-Kano expressways. Police spokesman Mr. Juma Moshood explains in a statement that the arrests were made during an operation that lasted several hours in some identified kidnap dens, camps and hideouts along the expressways. He adds that on interrogation, the suspects admitted having carried out several kidnappings and armed robberies on innocent travelers on the roads. 4 of their victims, comprising 3 men and a woman, were said to have been rescued during the operation, and they will be arraigned in court on completion of investigation. 7 years after the construction of Jada multi-purpose dam in Adamawa State was awarded by the Federal Ministry of Water Resources, work on the project has been abandoned, which has resulted in the communities involved crying foul. The residents are not only seeking compensation, they are also insisting that the contractor be arrested and made to refund all payments made. As at the time of the report, the contractor is yet to make any comment on the allegations. Our community report tonight looks at the issues surrounding the dam project and what the government plans to do about it.
This is a 35-year-old Kiri Dam in Adamawa State. Although said to be underutilized, the dam still boasts of a level of functionality that supports its claim of effectiveness. But that is not the story. This narrative is about a similar project that was intended to ease the sufferings of communities in Adamawa and Taraba State.
The dam is designed to be a multi-purpose dam, which will give irrigation, water supply, and then you have a supply of power which will contain the whole area, and then including my balancing. So it is a very important project to us, and it is so dear to us.
But 7 years after the contract for the construction of the Jada multi-purpose dam was awarded, the people are no better off. The taps are still not running. The overhead tanks erected in the communities have become landmarks. The farmlands are withering. Irrigation is a way out, but that can only do so much. This is the space where the facility should have been. But all that is here are abandoned structures, caterpillars, machines, and heaps of sand the children have gratefully taken possession of. But the adults understand the burden it has placed in them and are crying out.
This company came to us and said a dam will be constructed here. As a result, all of us that own farmlands and those with lands were all invited. We were told we shall all be compensated for our farms and lands. They only paid a little portion of the land, but the others are yet to receive their compensation. They said they have taken over our lands, but we are yet to see what is due to us.
We were denied our farmlands, and even some people had to relocate because their lands have been taken over and the construction has stopped. We have been abandoned, no farmland, and this is what we are all going through.
Our people are really suffering because there is no food. This year we suffered a lot because we cannot farm the land. So there is nothing we can do but to approach our representative to assist us get our rights. This is our cry to those concerned.
The attention of the representatives of the communities at the National Assembly has been drawn, and it gives us utmost assurance that the matter will not be washed away.
The job has not even reached the 5 to 10% level, and I am concerned. And that is why I feel there is need for this project to continue. Now it is left for me to go to the ministry, make inquiries, not just about compensation, but about this project to continue.
The people have been asked to be patient and allow the process take its course. But all they want is for the controversy to be resolved and the project completed, so they can have unlimited access to what they regard as the most precious resource on earth.
Time for the business news of the day. Here is Emana Amawe.
You first. First Bank.
Hello and welcome to Business News. OPEC Secretary General Mohamed Bakindo says that the global oil market will be rebalanced in 2018. He expects oil prices to be at an equilibrium in the near future. At the Russian Energy Week conference in Moscow today, the OPEC chief says all members of OPEC, including Russia, are meeting the agreed obligations around production and output. Mr. Bakindo singles out Russia for its more than 100% performance of oil market obligations in the past 2 months. The OPEC Secretary General calls for unity among producers to restore and sustain stability. He says members have a shared responsibility to secure enough oil supply in the future. In the meantime, oil prices fell for a third straight session, with the benchmark Brent crude settling at $55.81 per barrel. at 6:19 p.m. local time, following a big rise in U.S. crude exports. And Nigeria's Debt Management Office has announced plans to raise between 270 billion naira and 330 billion in bonds within the fourth quarter of the year. The debt office will auction between 135 and 165 billion naira worth of bonds maturing in 2021 and the same amount for the debt maturing in 2027. The DMO says the bonds will be reopened from previously issued debt. The equities market gets a slight rebound at the close of the midweek session as traders and analysts expect positive sentiments on third quarter earnings release. Let's join Chimezie Obi-Iwagu for the market summary.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Bargain hunting dominated the Nigerian equities market today, helping stocks rebound after Tuesday's losses. At the sound of the closing gong, the all-share index notched up 0.15%, thanks to gains made by Nestle and Total. High expectations for third quarter reports is also driving sentiment. All the major sectors were all in the green except insurance, while the industrial sector was unchanged. In 3,599 deals, investors put in over 2.7 billion naira to purchase about 174 million shares. Investors traded more on the banking stocks, with UBA, FBNH and Zenith Bank as the top trades. Thursday is another trading day, and traders expect a more positive transaction. And that was the Stock Market Report. I'm Chimezie Obi-Iwagu.
U.S. stocks surged higher at the close of today's session following the release of strong economic data, but it's mixed finish for Europe and Asia as markets in China remain closed for the public holidays. Here are the figures of global equities today. And that's it on Business News tonight. I'm Emana Amawe. It's back to Ladi.
You first. First Bank.
Thank you, Emana. Still ahead on the news at 10, Rivers Angels demolished by Elsa Queens to reach a final of the ITO Cup for a record 9th time. That'll be in the sports news. Please stay on with us.